Good morning, everyone. Respected principal sir, teacher, and my dear friends. My name is Om Shukla, and I am studying in class 11C. So, my topic is what is computer memory? So, the definition goes like this: a computer memory is just like a human brain, it is used to store data and instructions. Computer memory is the storage space in the computer where data is to be processed and instructions required for processing are stored. A collection of cells, each with a unique physical address. Now move on to the second topic. It is memory unit. So as we know, the memory is measured by some units like kilobyte, gigabyte, megabyte, terabyte, petabyte. So let's see what are the types of unit. So the first one and the smallest one is bit, that is BIT. It has a storage of 1 or 0 and it is abbreviated as B. Then the second one is nibble. It contains 4 bits. And the next one is byte or octet. It contains 8 bits and it is abbreviated as B. Then the next one is kilobyte. It contains 1024 bytes and it is abbreviated as KB. Then the next one is megabyte. It contains 1024 KB and it is abbreviated as MB. The next one is gigabyte. It contains 1024 MB and it is abbreviated as GB. The next one is terabyte. 1024 GB is the storage and it is abbreviated as TB. The next one is petabyte. It contains 1024 TB and it is abbreviated as PB. The next one is exabyte. It contains 1024 PB and it is abbreviated as EB. The next one is zettabyte. It contains 1024 EB and it is abbreviated as ZB. The last one is zettabyte and it is a very huge one. It contains 1024 zettabyte. Wow. And it is abbreviated as YB. So these are some units of memory. As we all know, it is used in our daily lives. So the next topic is types of memory. The first type is cache memory. Cache memory is a very high speed semiconductor memory which can speed up the CPU. It acts as a buffer between the CPU and the main memory. It is used to hold those parts of data and program which are most frequently used by the CPU. So every memory has contained some advantage or disadvantage. So this type of memory has contained the advantages of it can it has it has a faster memory than main memory. It consumes less access time as compared to main memory. I'm talking about the advantages of cache memory. Then the next advantage is it stores the program that can be excluded within a short period of time. It stores data for temporary use. Yes, exactly. It stores the data for temporary use. The next is some disadvantages. So, the disadvantage is that cache memory has limited capacity. It doesn't have the unlimited capacity, it contains some limited capacity. And the very big disadvantage is that it is very expensive. Yes, it is very expensive. Then move on to the second type of memory, that is primary memory. So primary memory holds only those data and instructions on which the computer is currently working. It has a limited capacity and data is lost when power is switched off. It is generally made up of semiconductor device. These memories are not as faster as registers. The data and instructions required to be processed resides in the memory. It is divided into some categories. The categories are RAM and ROM. RAM means random access memory and ROM means read only memory. So let us differentiate between these categories. So we just take the two categories, that is RAM and ROM. Now let's take some basis for comparison between these two. So the first one is basic. The basic means the full form, or we can say the definition. RAM means it is a read write memory. ROM means it is read only memory. So what are the use? The uses are RAM store data to be currently processed. ROM, in the ROM, it is required for booting of computer. Yes, it is required for booting of the computer. Then volatility. It is a volatile memory. RAM is a volatile memory, whereas ROM is non-volatile memory. What is RAM stands for? RAM stands for random access memory and ROM stands for read only memory. Then the modification. In RAM, data in RAM can be modified, whereas data in ROM can't be modified. Capacity. RAM sizes from 64 MB to 18 GB. Yes, 18 GB. Then ROM is smaller than RAM. The cost. RAM is costlier memory, whereas ROM is cheaper than RAM. Now we have moved to some types of RAM. So types of RAM are SRAM, that is static random access memory. Then DRAM, that is dynamic random access memory. So let us just do some comparison between these. First one is speed. So SRAM is, that is DRAM. Then move on to size. DRAM is larger than SRAM. It means SRAM is small and DRAM is large. Cost. SRAM is very expensive, whereas DRAM is very cheap. SRAM is used in cache memory, whereas dynamic RAM used in main memory. What is the density? So static RAM has a less density, whereas dynamic RAM has highly dense. The construction. Static RAM has complex and uses transaction and latches, whereas dynamic RAM is simple and uses capacitors and very few transistors. Single block requires. The next basis is single blocks requires. So static RAM consists six transistors, whereas dynamic RAM contain only one transistor. The next basis is charge leakage property. So in static RAM it is not present, whereas in dynamic RAM present, hence require power refresh circuitry. Then now we move on to the types of ROM, that is types of random only read only memory. The first type is MROM. The very first ROM were hardwired devices that contain a pre-programmed set of data or instructions and known as marked ROMs and are inexpensive. So the full form of MROM is marked read only memory and it is not very expensive. Then move on to the second type. We have PROM, that is programmable read only memory. So what does it means? PROM is read only memory. The user buys a blank PROM and enters the desired contact using a PROM program. Inside the PROM chip, there are small fuses which are burnt open during program. It can be programmed only once and is not erasable. It means it is not erasable. It can't be erased. EPROM, erasable and programmable read-only memory. This is the full form of EPROM. So EPROM can be erased by exposing it to ultraviolet light for a duration of up to 40 minutes. Usually, an EPROM eraser achieves this function. During programming, an electric charge is taped in an insulated gate region. Then we have the double EPROM, that is electrically erasable and programmable read-only memory. What does it means? It means it is programmed and erased electrically. It can be erased and reprogrammed about 10,000 times. Both erasing and programming take about 4 to 10 milliseconds. Oof, that is very fast. The next one is secondary memory. So, what do we mean by secondary memory? Secondary memory, this type of memory is also known as external memory or non-volatile memory. These are slower than the main memory. These are used for storing data in form permanently. CPU directly does not access these memories. Instead, they are accessed via input-output routines. For example, tape, disk, CD, ROM, DVD, pen drive, etc.